Hi, lovely people. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something that unfortunately happens quite a lot in coaching, and that is people losing faith that their symptoms can be shifted, or they start feeling like they need to pace in order to not feel a symptom. And usually that happens with our clients that have been quite mind body oriented for some time, and then they can't shift a certain symptom and they start browsing YouTube videos, and after a while they find a video that talks about how pacing is important, and then all sorts of doubts are affirmed in their minds, and now they're in a really bad place in terms of shifting the symptom. Like, it's going to be really difficult to shift it from there. I see this happen to people on a regular basis, and I always feel bad for them because they kind of create this problem that they didn't need to have. You see, when shifting doesn't work, that doesn't necessarily mean that the symptom is more stubborn or that something physical needs to be healed or that we need to pace. Often, actually, the solution is just in looking at minute details. So, for example, when we're not accepting what is, when we're not accepting the symptom, then often we will create this state within us that will make it really difficult to shift the symptom. And that can be confusing because sometimes in the past we have been able to shift symptoms in that way, but there comes a time when it's not possible. We also call this fix-it mentality, but basically it's this resistance against the symptom. We're trying to push against it, fix it, run away from it. If the symptom is not able to be shifted, that is a very likely candidate for what's going on. Another thing that's very likely going on is that we are assigning a meaning to the symptom that's not at all helpful. What I define as helpful meaning for a symptom is a meaning that makes you feel good, or at least it's neutral. And the meaning that is often assigned is this symptom means that I'm doing worse than I did, or this symptom means that I won't recover, or this symptom means that I will take a long time to recover, or it means that there's something physically wrong with my body, and so on. And if you look at these meanings, you can see that they would not feel good, right? So we want something that feels good simply because feeling good means feeling safety in the body. And feeling safety in the body is actually the thing that will release the symptom, that will allow the nervous system to climb up the polyvagal ladder so that the symptom will go away. So, what we want is we want to increase safety. And if we're thinking this symptom means it will take me a long time to recover, or it means that I will get worse, well, that is the opposite of increasing safety, right? Let me share with you a few examples of helpful meanings of symptoms. The first one is, this is just my nervous system asking for some help. Or maybe this is my nervous system asking me to step into my calm adult self. Or maybe my compassionate adult self. Or maybe into my loving parent. Whatever it is that helps you get that adult but loving and compassionate energy, not judgmental at all. The next one could be the nervous system dysregulation and the symptom that's just like a baby crying. And baby is asking for attention, but I don't need to fear the baby. I don't need to fix the crying away. I need to find the need behind it, but I don't need to find the nearest lollipop and stick it into baby's mouth so that it will shut up. And the next one, these symptoms are only so strong because I've been allowing the fear loop to run. But now I see this, so I'm going to stop the fear loop. It's going to be okay. And then I really like the last one. Every time I handle a symptom well, without fighting, fixing, fearing, frustrating, and fixating on the symptom, I am actually recovering. So this means that this symptom right now is my opportunity to recover. It's my stepping stone toward recovery. Now, the helpful meaning for you will be the one that makes you feel better. It's not exactly the same wording for all people. So choose something that makes you feel better, that makes you feel more optimistic or more empowered, more confident, more safe, and happier, and like things are moving in the right direction. I just had a client yesterday, and she graciously agreed to share this story with you. And even though she has learned these things from me already and she was doing really well, she was in two of my group classes, she did some private sessions with me. She was really doing well in many respects. But then a new symptom became prominent. And this symptom really started giving her different kind of trouble than the symptoms before it. And she is not the only one that had this kind of problem. It's actually quite common that sooner or later we get to a symptom that kind of we have a blind spot around. So she had all the knowledge, but this symptom really, really hit her hard. And she wasn't noticing the unhelpful meaning. It wasn't really obvious to her, so she wasn't replacing it with a helpful one. She also wasn't noticing that she was approaching it with a fix-it mentality. And I want to say both of these are so very common that we think we are having a helpful meaning, or we are having an accurate meaning at least. And we think we are working well with the parts and with the symptom, but actually, in reality, for this particular symptom, we are having a blind spot and we're not noticing the things that are actually going on. So, what was happening for her is that she just wanted the symptom to be gone. And so she wasn't bringing in the safety that the symptom needed, or that I should say the nervous system needed, in order to get rid of symptom. And we always want to cater to the nervous system. Like, that is the most important thing. The symptoms are not really important. The symptoms are just a signal that there is something to look into on the nervous system level, on the parts level, on the needs level. But it's not, the symptom is not the thing that we should really be looking at. So when she changed the meaning, when she brought in safety instead of going about fixing this, everything changed for her. And she was suddenly able to shift this symptom without even really, pushing for shifting, that she was never able to shift before. Never. And now she has done it a few times just today. So this is what approaching the symptom from a standpoint of I'm already safe, this is what it can do for you. I will play you a note that she sent me earlier today, and you can hear for yourself how this changed how what she was able to do with her symptom.
Everything that happened last night in our session was extremely important to me. And this conversation that we had regarding the symptoms and the meaning that I assigned to symptoms, I went back to your course today and I rewatched the video about the meaning that we assigned to symptoms. Excuse me. And as I was working, the fatigue came on, like the same fatigue that I never managed to shift before. And I went into talking to myself for a bit, and I just had this energy of like I was the grown up in a way, and I had the deep knowing that I'm safe right now. And I went into a visualization where I just showed my body how safe feels like. And all I did was I just had this fluffy blanket on my body and just felt really cozy and safe inside of it. And somehow my sister came into the picture as well. And she gave me this hug and I felt so safe in her hug and the symptoms lifted. 2 minutes later, I was back to base and I'm feeling okay. And I went into the visualization with the knowing that I'm safe. and not with the fix-it mentality that I am not safe right now.
And I would also like to read a few messages that she left me after that. So she said, I again gave my system safety when fatigued. Again shifted. I think I got it. Oh my God, Andrea, have I got it? Is it really that simple? Not easy, but simple? I'm now in sympathetic and I'm trying to guide my system into ventral. I'm higher on the ladder for sure. I'm in ventral. I feel calm and connected. I'm crying tears of happiness. I am not sick. My system is dysregulated. I believe it now. After receiving these messages, I was so happy and I asked her if I could share this with you. And here's what she told me.
Actually, you need to do it. I think it's a very important piece for other people to understand that this is not about pacing at all. So just to give you an example of how my day looked like today. So today was the first day in many months where I'm not experiencing any post-exertional malaise or whatever you call it, like whatever I felt that was for me. Whenever I would go out, I would come home and I would experience all the symptoms. And today I shifted the fatigue through regulation and I was fine. Like I maintained my baseline throughout the day with all the stuff that I did. I even went to sauna, all of it. So I think I see it now. I'm actually pretty sure that fear and dysregulation is the driver of the fatigue, and it's a learned pattern.
So you see, there is nothing to be afraid about symptoms. The symptoms are an opportunity for you to connect to yourself, to tend to yourself like a loving parent tends to their children. You know, just be with them, attune to them. That is all you need to do. Sometimes theory sounds really good, but it's difficult to put it into practice, right? So let's get really practical about what you can do instead of pacing. Well, you can care for yourself. CARE. And that means that when you want to do an activity, instead of checking how many spoons you already used up today and how many you still have left, you check what is your state like. And if you find dysregulation, you climb up the polyvagal ladder. And let's say that you found yourself closer to ventral vagal, closer to safe and social. So you go, okay, let's do this. Let's go and have some fun. Let's do this thing. And I really hope that you will choose an activity that will nourish you and be really, really good for your system in terms of it will really be what you want to do, not something that you feel you have to do to fulfill some social obligations or to be liked by people or so that you will be loved, because you are absolutely worthy of love without doing that activity. You are worthy of acceptance, you are worthy of respect, of dignity, without jumping through hoops. So I hope that activity will be something that nourishes you. Now, you might not feel that great even after going through this first step of climbing up. And so then I would ask your intuition, will this activity be regulating? Maybe you have done it in the past. You know, maybe it's talking to your friend. And your friend always lifts you up and you feel so much better after talking to her. Then go ahead and do it anyway. On the other hand, if this friend, tends to dump her negative emotions on you and you feel drained after talks, then your intuition will probably tell you that this is not a regulating activity, because it's not. So, in that case, since this is not a regulating activity, then tend to your system like a loving, caring parent and replace that activity with something that will be better for you. So, something that will feel soothing or uplifting, maybe something that will fill you with awe. It can even be a nap. I would try to look at other options first and rest second, but nap is an option. And then, of course, parts of you might not be so happy about you having to give up the original activity. They might be frustrated or sad, or they might fear a retribution from somebody because you didn't do that activity. So, we would also want to step into that loving, compassionate, caring parent to tend to these parts and tell you that you absolutely are right in tending to your nervous system because that is what will get you well. Now, let's look at some differences between pacing and caring for yourself. Now, let's say that you wake up in the morning and you have more symptoms than yesterday. And pacing mentality would be, I overdid it yesterday, so I need to do less today. Whereas care mentality would be, my nervous system is just feeling unsafe. This doesn't need to have anything to do with activity. It could have emotional roots, it could have physiological roots. It's just feeling unsafe. And I can soothe it by shifting into more safety. So I don't need to save my spoons, I need to feed the baby, so to speak. So I can get curious about which emotions and needs are underneath this dysregulation, if I can find them. If not, it's okay. I just know my nervous system is not feeling safe right now. Let me be that pillar of safety for it. Let me get into the loving, compassionate parent. Nervous system in distress is like a baby crying. And you wouldn't just run out when the baby is crying. You would tend to the baby, right? And it's the same thing with the nervous system. Now, the next thing that could happen is maybe you do an activity and symptoms increase. And in pacing mentality, that would mean I did too much. I need to rest now and I must do less next time. In care mentality, again, it just means my nervous system is feeling unsafe, the baby is crying. If my nervous system felt safe and I did the same activity on the same day, there would be no symptoms. So it's not because of the activity, it's because of how my nervous system is wired right now to react to that activity. Or it can even be, some emotional thing that I was not aware of that created this. So let me get curious in that case about what made my nervous system feel that way. What was I thinking and feeling just before the symptoms appeared? And what is my nervous system state? Now, the last comparison I'm going to do is in the pacing mentality, there is this idea of having a limited amount of spoons. And if I use too many in a day, then I pay for it. In the care mentality, what determines whether somebody gets symptoms or not, it's not the amount of spoons, but the nervous system state and how safe the nervous system feels. So the solution then is not to manage spoons, the solution is to help the nervous system feel safe. We do that moment by moment. It is not something that I can decide now and then my nervous system just feels safe. It's about reacting to the nervous system as it goes through the day and as it gets, scared of that, upset about that, angry about the third thing, and so on. That I notice this and that I'm there as a loving parent, not as a judge, and not as someone who is afraid alongside my nervous system, but as a loving parent. Just in case it wasn't entirely clear, I would like to say that not pacing is not the same as pushing through symptoms, no matter what. And the reason is that I view the nervous system as a baby that's crying when the symptoms are high. or when the symptoms appear at all. And we wouldn't want to just go about our life while the baby's crying, right? We usually try to take care of baby's needs. When we're caring for our nervous system, we want to do the same, attuning to the nervous system needs and not so much to what the achiever and people pleaser and perfectionist and other protector parts want. The next one is we would take care of the baby according to her schedule, according to her needs, not according to our own, right? So if I had a baby, it would not be reasonable for me to say, look, I'm going to feed you at 8 o'clock in the evening and then at 8 o'clock in the morning. And in the meantime, I do not expect a peep from you. That would not work, right? And it's very similar to the nervous system. The nervous system has needs in the moment. So, as much as possible, we want to take care of the nervous system needs when they become apparent. And they become apparent often through symptoms, at least in the beginning, before we really learn to notice our nervous system state changes before they become symptoms. And then we can take care of the nervous system already at that point instead of waiting for them to turn into symptoms. And then lastly, we want to learn what the baby needs, right? It's not like every time the baby cries, she needs to rest. No mother's thinking that way. Like every time the baby cries, for sure she needs to rest. And yet, in the pacing mentality, we usually think that if the nervous system is crying, that means it needs rest. But that might not be at all. A baby will also cry if she's lonely, if she's scared, and the nervous system will do exactly the same. So we want to get curious about the needs. We want to get experimenting with what we can do, what makes the nervous system feel a little bit better. Of course, we have all the tools that we can use. We have brain retraining, somatics, parts work. We have journaling. We have EFT. We have other kinds of emotional work. There's a lot to experiment with, and there's a lot to notice. When you run an experiment, notice how it made you feel. And if it made you feel good, even if the symptoms didn't change, but if it made you feel good on some level, that means it helped your nervous system. So, this was a short introduction of how to take care of your nervous system from a place of a loving parent, and I hope that it helped.